Hi, how are you? It's Mrs. Ferris from Wood Library. I put something in the description. Facebook has done something weird to me tonight that they won't let me flip it so that the books will look right. So I apologize right at the beginning, but there's nothing Bernard and I could do about it. We'll see if we can fix it for later on, but let's start off with a story. This is called Rafiki. It's written by Nola Langner with illustrations by her as well. And it takes place in the jungle. This is published by Viking Press. Well, once again, it was morning in Africa. The sun was orange and Rafiki walked into the jungle. Now, Rafiki, I don't know if you can see it, is this little girl right there. Now, as always, the animals woke up in their big, dirty house. Every morning it was the same. The ostrich coughed in the dusty air. The warthog hid behind the torn curtains. The rhino stamped on the sandy rug. The stork washed in the messy sink. The baboon, well, he looked for a clean dish. And the crocodile sat near the cold stove thinking about fish. The lion, who was king, yawned. Can you all yawn? Now every morning the animals went to the acacia tree to make their plans for the day, and it was always the same. Jambo, they said. In Africa, jambo means hello. Then the lion yawned and told them what to do. And every day he said the same thing. Whereas I am king, and kings know best, I hereby proclaim that hereinafter it is unlawful for animals to do housework. And furthermore, I hereunder proclaim that only girls may do housework in my kingdom, etc., etc. The lion always said etc. because he liked the sound of the word. Well, after that, he always fell asleep. Now, some kings need a lot of rest, and the animals always believed the lion. They did what he said, even though their house got dirtier day after day. Kings know best, they said, even though their king was usually asleep. Every day the animals told about the things they would do, and it was always the same. The ostrich spoke first. I will go to the plains and run like the wind. I have such beautiful, strong legs. I am shy, whispered Warthog, so I will go and hide in the rocks. The rhino roared, I am powerful and large. I think I need to knock down a tree. And then came the stork. I will spread my huge wings and fly up to the clouds. Maybe today I will see something wonderful down on the ground. He said that every day, but he never saw anything. I will leap in the trees, yelled the baboon. I will make a lot of noise. The crocodile smiled a big, sharp smile. I am going to the river to catch a fish. And as always, the lion woke up. Oh, today, he said, I think I will take a nap. And that's what he said every day. Well, the animals left the acacia tree. Kwaheri, they said. Kwaheri means goodbye. The stork spread his huge wings and flew up to the clouds. He looked for something wonderful down on the ground. And suddenly, he stopped flying. Amazing, he said, because today he found something. He flew down closer, and there was a little girl. It was Rafiki. The stork smiled at her. Jumbo, little girl, he said. Are you lost? Oh, I should say not, said the little girl. I'm looking for a good place to build my house. Well, the stork called the animals together, and they took the little girl home. Jumbo, little girl, they said. Are you lost? Of course not, said the little girl. I am looking for a good place to build my house. Well, the animals laughed for a long time. Little girls don't build houses, they said. Oh, said Rafiki. Well, what do little girls do? They dust, said the ostrich, like this. And he stretched out his beautiful strong legs and dusted the house. They also sew, said the warthog, and like this. And he hid behind the curtains and mended all the holes. What little girls really do best is sweep, said the rhino, and he snorted all the sand into one pile. And don't forget cleaning sinks, said the stork as he wiped. Little girls love that. But little girls, said the baboon as he scrubbed, always wash the dishes. And they know how to cook, said the crocodile, and he lit the stove and cooked some fish. Well, the house was clean and the animals were tired. The animals looked at the little girl to see which job she would do first. Rafiki smiled, but she didn't speak. Please, little girl, begged the baboon, if you work for us, you can come to all of our birthday parties. Please, little girl, cried the crocodile, clean our house and we'll be your best friends. And now it was Rafiki's turn to laugh. She laughed for a long time. You just did all the work by yourselves, she said. And the animals were so surprised. Oh my goodness, said the stork. What will the lion say? Well, they looked at the lion, but luckily he was still asleep. Let's tell him we did it, yelled the rhino. Maybe we should tell him in the morning, whispered the warthog. Maybe kings don't know best, said the stork. He said it very quietly, and by now it was night. It was time for the animals to go to bed. Kwaheri, little girl, they said. Remember, that means good night. It also means good night. Kwaheri, everyone, said Rafiki. And all that night, while the animals slept, Rafiki was very busy. Very, very busy. And when it was morning, the animals woke as usual. The sun was orange as usual, and Rafiki was still there. But somehow, everything was different. There was no dust. The ostrich didn't cough. There were no more holes in the curtains the warthog could hide. There was no sand when the rhino stamped on the rug. The stork had a clean sink. The baboon found a dish for breakfast. The crocodile cooked still more fish. And the lion, of course, still yawned. And then he looked around. Very nice, he said. Who cleaned everything up? Was there a little girl here? Well, not exactly, said the stork, looking out the window. Well, to tell the truth, snorted the rhino, it was us. The lion opened his mouth wide, and then he roared. I like it! I like it! He said. But you told us not to, croaked the crocodile. Don't believe everything you're told, said the lion. Some kings never like to admit they're wrong. Well, the animals were happy. With my strong legs, said the ostrich, I could do this every day, this dusting. We all could, they said, every day. Let's go tell the little girl, yelled the baboon. So the animals went over to the acacia tree, but today the acacia tree was different too. Rafiki's house was underneath it. And Rafiki was inside. Jumbo, said the stork, very amazed. I guess little girls do build houses after all. Jumbo, said Rafiki, they certainly do. Zurisana, said all of the animals, they certainly do. In Africa, Zurisana means wonderful. The stork put one large wing around Rafiki. By the way, little girl, he said, what is your name? My name, she said, is Rafiki. Zuri sana, the animal said, because in Africa, Rafiki means friend. Well, if you weren't here right when we started, things may look a little reversed to you because Facebook took away my magic tool for changing things. So unless I can do it now, let me just try one more time. Nope, it's not going to let me do it. So let's do a finger play anyway. Shall we do one about, well, let's put some monkeys. Should they be up in a coconut tree? Have we done this one before? I can't remember. Can you put your hands together like you're going to climb a tree? The itsy bitsy monkey climbed up the coconut tree. Down came a coconut and it popped him on the knee. Along came his mommy who kissed away the pain. Then the itsy bitsy monkey climbed up the tree again. Can you climb? Way up to the very top? And then you know what's fun to do? Shoo, slide on down. Yes, just like that. Okay. Well, let's have another story. We got a little exercise climbing a tree. Let's get a little exercise going for a walk or a hike. This is Joe MacDonald Hiked in the Woods. It's written by Mary Quttlebaum, illustrated by Laura J. Bryant, and published by Dawn Publications. And it looks like Joe MacDonald, well, is out in the woods. And you know what? We may have to sing this one. Joe MacDonald hiked in the woods, E-I-E-I-O. And in those woods she heard a woodpecker, E-I-E-I-O. With a rat-a-tat here and a rat-a-tat there, here a rat, there a tat, everywhere a rat-a-tat. Joe MacDonald hiked in the woods, E-I-E-I-O. And in those woods she heard a squirrel, E-I-E-I-O. With a here and a there, here and there and everywhere a Joe MacDonald hiked in the woods, E-I-E-I-O. And in those woods she heard a, do you know what that is? Turkey, E-I-E-I-O. With a gobble gobble here and a gobble gobble there, here a gobble, there a gobble, everywhere a gobble gobble. Joe MacDonald hiked in the woods, E-I-E-I-O. And in those woods she heard a chipmunk, E-I-E-I-O. With a chomp chomp here and a chomp chomp there, here a chomp, there a chomp, everywhere a chomp chomp. Joe MacDonald hiked in the woods, E-I-E-I-O. And in those woods she heard a snake, E-I-E-I-O. With a slither slither here and a slither slither there, here a slither, there a slither, everywhere a slither slither. Joe MacDonald hiked in the woods, E-I-E-I-O. And in those woods she heard a turtle, E-I-E-I-O. With a shuffle shuffle here and a shuffle shuffle there, here a shuffle, there a shuffle, everywhere a shuffle shuffle. Old Joe MacDonald hiked in the woods, E-I-E-I-O. And in those woods she heard a skunk, E-I-E-I-O. With a pad pad here and a pad pad there, here a pad, there a pad, everywhere a pad pad. Joe MacDonald hiked in the woods, E-I-E-I-O. And in those woods she heard a moth, E-I-E-I-O. With a flutter flutter here and a flutter flutter there, here a flutter, there a flutter, everywhere a flutter flutter. Joe MacDonald hiked in the woods, E-I-E-I. Ooh. Did we lose part of the word there? What did they see? I've always wished I could see one of those up in a tree. And in those woods she heard an owl, E-I-E-I-O, with a hoo-hoo here and a hoo-hoo there. Here a hoo, there a hoo, everywhere a hoo-hoo. Joe MacDonald hiked in the woods. E-I-E-I. Maybe you want to go out and hike in the woods. It says she saw 9 creatures, and in the last page, they challenge you to find all 9 of them. 3 of them are ones that would stay awake all night. And then at the back, there's information about the animals too. All right. Well, let's do another finger play. Shall we? It's probably too soon for bubblegum, don't you think? Or is it? I don't know. Maybe you could stand up and we could do a marching one. I'm going to march on the table, and I'm going to practice and try not to hit the table because it'll make the camera go wobbly. But let's march together, you and me. Let's march together, you and me. I'll march with you and you march with me. Let's march together, you and me. Let's march together, you and me. Let's march together, you and me. I'll march with you and you march with me. Let's march together, you and me. Let's march together, you and me. One more time. Let's march together, you and me. Well, we're going to have a story now about a rooster. And this is called Rooster Can't Cock-a-Doodle-Doo. It's written by Rostoker-Gruber with pictures by Paul Detalles. It's a long last name and is published by Puffin books. And as you can see, we're going down on the farm for this story. Now one morning, Rooster woke up with a terrible sore throat. Oh no, he coughed. What should I do? My throat hurts too much to cock-a-doodle-doo. Rooster wondered how he was going to wake up Farmer Ted and the animals without cock-a-doodle-dooing. So he went to the hen house. There was no one there collecting eggs. The hens were asleep. Wake up, hens, Rooster whispered. I can't cock-a-doodle-doo. Oh, you poor thing. You look exhausted, clucked the hens. How will you wake up Farmer Ted without cock-a-doodle-dooing? Maybe the cows will know, said Rooster. So the hens followed Rooster to the cow barn. Well, no one was getting milked. The cows were asleep. Wake up, cows, they said. Rooster can't cock-a-doodle-doo. Oh my, said the cows. How utterly frustrating. How will you wake up Farmer Ted without cock-a-doodle-dooing? Maybe the sheep will know, said the rooster. So the hens and the cows followed Rooster to the sheep pasture. But no one was getting sheared. The sheep were asleep. Baa, baa, moo, moo. Wake up, sheep, they said. Rooster can't cock-a-doodle-doo. Oh, that's bad, bad news, bawed the sheep. How will you wake up Farmer Ted without a cock-a-doodle-dooing? Maybe the pigs will know, said the rooster. So the hen and the cows and the sheep followed Rooster to the pig pen. No one was pouring slop, and the pigs were asleep. Moo, moo, ba, ba. Wake up, pigs, they said. Rooster can't cock-a-doodle-doo. Oh dear, that's a mighty big problem, oinked the pigs. How will you wake up Farmer Ted without cock-a-doodle-dooing? You don't know, bawled the sheep. Oh, now what will we do? There's no one left to ask. Let's go to Farmer Ted's house, Rooster said. We'll just walk right in and wake him up. So the hens, cows, sheep, and pigs followed Rooster to Farmer Ted's house, but the house was locked. Oh my, now no one will ever collect our eggs, clucked the hens. And if someone doesn't milk us, we're going to burst, mooed the cows. And our wool is so long we're practically tripping on it, bawled the sheep. We're starving, said the pigs. Well, Rooster felt awful. This was all his fault. Farmer Ted's bedroom was on the 3rd floor and there was no way to wake him. Unless, I've got it, Rooster whispered. So the animals huddled around him, and then the sheep stood on the cows, and the pigs stood on the sheep, and the hens stood on the pigs, and the rooster stood on top. Will you please move your hooves? They're right in our eyes, mooed the cows. Well, we would if our friends the swine, those are the pigs, would stop wiggling their tails in our faces, bawled the sheep. Well, tell the feather-brained quartet to quit tickling our snouts, oinked the pigs. Who are you calling feather-brained? Clucked the hens. Oh my, what's all this ruckus, said Farmer Ted when he opened the window. Rooster pointed to his sore throat. Farmer Ted squinted at the sun. Ooh, it's getting late, he said, putting on his overalls. I have to finish the chores before the sun sets or I won't be able to see what I'm doing. So he warmed up some tea with honey for Rooster and carried him to a chair by the pond. And then he quickly set out to work. The animals watched Farmer Ted. He's never going to finish the chores before sunset, clucked the hens. Probably not, bawled the sheep. We've got to help him before our milk curdles, mooed the cows. We have an idea, winked the pigs. So the animals huddled together, and then they helped Farmer Ted collect the eggs, milk the cows, shear the sheep, and pour the slop. The sun set, and after their busy day, the animals and Farmer Ted were ready for bed. Rooster had rested all day on the chair by Farmer Ted's pond. His throat was nice and warm from the tea he sipped, and his feet even had a slight tan. He felt much better. Thanks for your help today, he said. Cock-a-doodle-doo! And he crowed with all his might. Glad to help, but just please pipe it down, clucked the hens. We're trying to get some sleep, mooed the cows. Give it a rest, bawled the sheep. Save it for the morning, oinked the pigs. And that's exactly what Rooster did. Well, now I'm sure it's time for our bubble gum. So reach in your pocket and pull out a piece of pretend bubble gum. Remember, pretend bubble gum might have a wrapper on it, so let's unwrap it, toss it in the trash, and then we're gonna pop it in our mouths and chew it up until it's really soft and squishy. Are you ready? I think it's ready. Put your hand out. Spit your gum and only your gum into your hand. 1, 2, 3. And clap your other hand on top. And we've got sticky, sticky bubble gum, sticky, sticky bubble gum, sticky, sticky bubble gum, stick it on your back. To get it off, Do you remember what we have to say? If you don't know, I'll tell you. We have to say unstick, okay? Unstick. Sticky, sticky bubble gum, sticky, sticky bubble gum, sticky, sticky bubble gum, stick it on your nose. Unstick. Sticky, sticky bubble gum, sticky, sticky bubble gum, sticky, sticky bubble gum, stick it on your arm. Unstick. Sticky, sticky bubble gum, sticky, sticky bubble gum, sticky, sticky bubble gum, stick it on your chin. Unstick. Sticky, sticky bubble gum, sticky, sticky bubble gum, sticky, sticky bubble gum, stick it on your knee. Unstick. Sticky, sticky bubble gum, sticky, sticky bubble gum, sticky, sticky bubble gum, stick it on your cheek. Unstick. Sticky, sticky bubble gum, sticky, sticky bubble gum, sticky, sticky bubble gum. Stick it on Mom or Dad. Oh, wait. Are you there yet? Unstick. Come on back. Sticky, sticky bubble gum, sticky, sticky bubble gum, sticky, sticky bubble gum, stick it on your toe. Unstick. Sticky, sticky bubble gum, sticky, sticky bubble gum, sticky, sticky bubble gum. Time to throw it in the trash. Well, let's have one more book before we have our flannel board story. And this is called I'm Going to Give You a Bear Hug. It's written by Carolyn B. Cooney with illustrations by Tim Warrens, one of my favorite illustrators. And it's published by, this is a fun one to say, Zonerkidz. I'm going to give you a bear hug. Show you how much I care hug. A good night, sleep tight, way beyond compare hug. I'm going to give you a dog hug. A knock over chairs, chase up the stairs, and sleep like a log hug. I'm going to give you a cat hug. A simple purr, stroke my fur, don't do more than that hug. I'm going to give you a horse hug. Grab the mane, race through the rain, yes, oh yes, of course hug. I'm going to give you a duck hug. A webbed feet, feathered seat, waddle through the muck hug. I'm going to give you a pig hug. A never fail, curly tail, big, 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 big hug. I'm going to give you a fish hug. A wet and drippy, slimy, slippy, what on earth is this hug? I'm going to give you a whale hug. A high tide, ocean wide, take me for a sail hug. Can you see him there? I'm going to give you a bug hug. A wiggly wriggly, makes you giggly, creepy crawly snug hug. I'm going to give you a sheep hug. A lamb's wool blanket full, don't make a peep hug. I'm going to give you a bear hug. A gasp for air, all you dare, anything that's fair hug. A just right, turn off the light, sleep tight, say your prayers, and kiss goodnight. Way beyond compare hug. I like all those hugs. All right. Well, let's get the flannel board up here. And I hope I can do this one because it's a tongue twister. This is taken from a book that I don't even think we have in the library anymore. It got worn out. Well, do you see the piggy? Do you see the puddle? Do you see the muddy little puddle? Do you see the piggy in the middle of the muddy little puddle? See her dawdle, see her diddle in the muddy, muddy middle? See her waddle plump and little in the very merry middle? See her daddy? Fuddy-duddy, fuddy-duddy, fuddy-duddy. Don't you get all muddy, 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 muddy. You are much too plump and little to be in the muddy middle. Mud is squishy, mud is squashy, mud is oh so squishy, squashy. What you need is lots of soap. But the little piggy answered, squishy, squashy? Nope. See her mommy? Fiddle faddle, fiddle faddle, fiddle faddle. Get out of there, skedaddle, daddle, 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 daddle. You are much too plump and little to be in the muddy middle. Mud is mushy, mud is squishy, mud is oh so mushy, squishy. What you need is lots of soap. But the little piggy answered, mushy, squishy? Nope. See her brother? Silly Billy, silly Billy, silly Billy. Don't you waddle willy-nilly, willy-nilly. You are much too plump and little to be in the muddy middle. Mud is oofy, mud is puffy, mud is oh so oofy puffy. What you need is lots of soap. But the little piggy answered, oofy puffy? Nope. So they all stood in a huddle right beside that muddy puddle, and they looked into that puddle. What a muddy, muddy muddle. There was Piggy plump and little in the very merry middle. She was waddling, she was paddling, she was diving way down dairy. She was wiggling, she was giggling, and she was very, very merry. Said her father, little piggy, you have made me very mad. Said her mommy, little piggy, you have made me very sad. Little piggy, said her brother, you are very, very bad. Said little piggy, squishy, squashy, mushy, squishy, very bad. Me, oh my, said Piggy's mother, what's a mother pig to do? So she thought and thought and thought and thought. And then, of course, she knew. She said, I bet my feet get wet. And she jumped in to splash. See two piggies in the puddle, in the muddy little puddle. See Piggy and her mommy in the muddy little puddle. Me, oh my, said Piggy's father, what's a father pig to do? So he thought and thought and thought and thought. And then, of course, he knew. He said, I bet my tail gets wet. And he jumped in too. Splash. Let's get him in there. See three piggies in the puddle, in the muddy little puddle. See Mommy and Daddy and Piggy in the muddy little puddle. Boo-hoo-hoo, cried Piggy's brother. What's a brother pig to do? So he thought, but not for very long because, of course, he knew. He held his nose and he yelled, here goes! And he jumped in too. Hard to do this with just one hand. Get in there, Brother Piggy. There we go. Do you see four piggies in the puddle, in the muddy little puddle? See the piggies, big and little, in the muddy little puddle? Said the daddy, mud is squishy, mud is oh so squishy, squashy. Said the mommy, mud is mushy, mud is oh so mushy, squishy. Said the brother, mud is oofy, mud is oh so oofy, poofy. said the piggy. Squishy, squashy, mushy, squishy, oofy, poof. Indeed, said little piggy. I think we need some soap. But the other piggies answered, oofy, poofy, nope. So, let me set this down for just a second because I have to do something. Because they love being in that mud puddle. And I just need to get them ready for a surprise. So, they all dove way down dairy, and they were very, very merry. And that's the piggies in the puddle. Well, let's have our last book, and we debuted this last week. It's a brand new book by Sandra Boynton, and I really like it. It's called Jungle Night. It is nighttime in the jungle, and the moon will surely rise. All the animals are sleeping and whispering and sighs. Listen to the tiger, Zizu, ha. Listen to the cheetah, Chi-chi-ta. Can you hear the crocodile? Snorkel-hoo, snorkel-hoo. And all the little monkeys, chatter-choo, chatter-choo. We grunt, go the Red River hogs. Brop, bruppet, brop, bruppet, go the green jungle frogs. The dazzling bird makes a long, quiet coo. And the great big gorilla goes, ee, hoo, hoo, hoo. But sometime after midnight, the elephant goes, snore. And whoever had been sleeping isn't sleeping anymore. Jungle Night. Well, thank you for joining us for our reversed, mixed up bedtime story program. I'll see if I can do some finagling with the editing so I can flip it around for people who watch it another time. But hey, stories are good whether they're frontwards or backwards. So thanks for watching.